Hi, this is Lily Tang Williams. Good evening. Welcome to my channel. If you have not know my stories, I am a Chinese immigrant. I came to America 1988. So the recent talks of vaccine passport got me really scared. It's something I'm very concerned that it's going to be like China's social credit system to keep track the citizens and limit their freedom of movement, going to schools, going shopping, and if you don't carry this passport. So I wanted to just share with you my personal stories, how Chinese government tracked their citizens and from a birth to death and trap them where they should live. And then the social credit system, which basically controls 1.4 billion Chinese today. So to share my screen with you, um, you will see some PowerPoint, very short PowerPoint I put together with you. And when I'm doing this, I cannot answer your questions. I hope you will put your comments, questions on my Facebook or on YouTube channel. Anyway, I welcome you share and like and subscribe to them and get your friend to watch with you. So to share with you how I grew up under Mao's regime during the Cultural Revolution. And the first slide here, I'm going to show you. This is my parents when I was a little girl on a little horse. We were so poor to take a family portrait. We go to the government-run studio, and my aunt insisted to be in because she never took pictures. And so we pay money, we stand in line. The story about tracking Chinese citizens even exists today is that when my parents decided to get married, they need a government blessing, Ministry of Love, to prove their marriage. Because my dad was part of Communist Party as a member, my mom was not. So they would do a background check on my mom, make sure my dad, which was like a red class, right? My mom was just like in the middle, but not party member. And they would do some kind of background check on her, check her family status, and make sure she was not a black family. And so then give them a permission to get a marriage license and get married. Once you get married, you form a household registration. And to share you, what you will need to do, you go to the police station with all your papers, your marriage license, and you go get basically this household registration. This household registration is called a household register. It's like a little booklet, and all the household got to have this one. It's like also national ID. Without this, you cannot go get the government food rationing coupons. When I was a little under Mao, and today you have to use this to go get open up your bank account and go to schools, get the healthcare benefits, and this inside the word say your names, your address, and who do you work for. I remember I saw our old one, and who is on there. So you cannot just pack up your bag to live. You're supposed to live what your household registration tells you to live. And what happens when I was born, then I become the first child of my parents. That's a part of a household too. So they're going to register me as the child, first child of my parents. And when I become eligible to go to the government school, and they will make me a student file. So this is a student file picture of me in middle school, a young red guard, wear white shirt, green jacket. Here's a little plaque says a red guard, and approved hairstyle, 2 braids. And then this student file will include a picture like this every year. Once a year, you change your photo so they know what you look like. Because when you become a teenager, you might look very different. They want to know exactly what you look like. So you change your picture really. And of course, when I was in government schools, it's all lined up students and get vaccines every year, and no permission, no consent from parents necessary. We all belong to the state, including my parents. And the student file in old days might be a big brown envelope. And this is the one might look like more recent years. And I don't know if they all have a digital file today or not, since I left China in 1988. And this is a secret file, so no parents are allowed to see what's inside, and you are never allowed to see what's inside. But it's shared by all government agencies and by all employers, including future employers. So when I graduate from college, actually get a job, then this student file will be called personnel file, 档案. And that will track you pretty much until you die. So everybody's data is very trackable. And of course, today we have a so-called famous China's social credit system. The social credit system will look like this. This is an example of Jiangsu province. So basically, it's implemented in China right now. It's supposed to be implemented by end of 2020, but because COVID, they're still implement this all over the country. And I think it used to be like a little bit different rating system, but today basically it's like you start with 1,000 points. And if you do something good, then you get more points. If you do something bad, then you're gonna get the deductions. Example like this here, right? If you run a red light, you get a minus 50 points. If you go to protest for whatever that reason is, you get a minus 50 points. And here's something really interesting, talking about, hey, if you engage in not permitted religious activities, you get deduct 50 points. So this is a kind of like each province has their own chart like this. And there are over like probably 140 credit rating agencies become government contractors to keep track and all that in each province. And the private companies, third party, all are involved, but they all are forced, mandated to turn over everything to government. You have no choice. And so next slide, you see, then they separate you into different kind of grades. Like there's a AAA grade. If you are AAA class, you can get the best government jobs. You can get the best interest rate loans. As a business, you get also deals, because this also apply not just for private citizens, but all business too. And even government agencies, there's a different kind of system, but it's similar. So if you are AAA, you are the best, and you are good at the AA level. A is okay, so B is not too bad, but by the time you reduce your points, you become C or D ranking, then you are in trouble. By the time you get a D, then you get on a list. Then that list will be published. People will see who is on that list. For example, if your score is going to be less by having some WeChat groups, let's say. On the WeChat group, you post something doomed to be not PC, then not just you and your friends all will get minus points. And if you are D, you get on blacklist. You cannot take an airplane trip. You cannot buy a train ticket. You cannot go abroad. Cannot apply for your passport. I remember that it took me 7 trips when I want to come to United States to get my passport, private citizen passport. But you need your party boss in my law school, That time I was faculty member in law school in Shanghai. I need to get a permission from him to go apply for passport to quit my job. If you don't have that, you cannot travel. I heard today the Chinese private citizens passports, or if you work for government, you have government passports, they're all subject to some kind of inspection and credit system. So nobody wants to be having a D grade. If you have a D ranking and you will be on blacklist, it will take you minimum 2 years to repair your credit score and social credit score. And sometimes it's 5 years. But then by that time, if you are dissident, you already got locked up, you went to jail, you might not care what your score is anymore. But still, this is the pressure public opinion formed to against people who are dissidents. Your party is always right. So you better not to say anything anti-government, especially on social media. Another consequence is if you have a C or D, you cannot get a mortgage. You cannot go to the best school. Your children cannot go to the best school. And at a certain point, you probably just will be stuck where you are. Then you think that's terrible, right? That's basically become little slaves. But that's how it works. Let me show you the next slide. But the propaganda, you would think, how could the Chinese live like that? Not what you think. The 1.4 billion Chinese, some of them are quite fine with this system. They bought into the government rhetorics for years. It's good for society. Everybody conforms, have good behaviors. Look at those girls, so happy, show their credit score on their cell phones. So if you download on your cell phone the good apps, for example, and you might get 10 points. But if you download something you're not supposed to download, and then you get minus points. I know there's a Chairman Xi's red little app, like most little red books. So the party members can get extra points by download Chairman Xi's app and study and pass the test. And if you're a journalist, you need to study that. You need to get a state license to engage in journalism and become a reporter. If you are religious leaders, you also need to pass some kind of test to become licensed preachers. So it's as simple as that. And so party, remember, is always right. Next screen, you will say in China today, there are over 200 million public cameras with facial recognition features. So if you say you run a red light, right, you get caught. Or, if you do something bad and even speeding, then you get a minus point. You are tracked almost like everywhere, public places you go to. And you financially, you also tracked by your banks. But the people who read the banks and your behaviors and your financial transactions, and now they push all the financial transactions is on your cell phone. And so everything is tracked. When you do money exchanges, when you buy and sell stuff, and I think China has been promoting their own digital currency. So no more cash, because cash is not trackable. And look at those people just by simply walking down to the streets, and they might not realize, but you are on camera, and then goes to a computer system. And even foreigners who go to visit China, you are subject to this. So there's no privacy at all. When I was growing up, privacy, it was just an alien concept. I never heard of it. Our homes were open to Communist Party committee members and the leaders from our block committee come to sit on your home in your bed to talk to you, make sure you are loyal, you are very, very PC. Your teachers, principals had home visits, and we did not have phone, no appointment necessary. You just come in, knock on your doors. Everybody knows where you live, okay? because you cannot live off the grid, and all your information is on household registration, and all your private information as an individual is on your personnel file. In China, if they want to catch you today, doesn't matter who you are. I think maybe take a few minutes, a few hours, they will know where to get you. In the United States, might take investigations. Hopefully we have some kind of due process, a few months, they will find you. But I'm just worried this vaccine passport is going to make us implementing similar kind of tracking system in America. Be honest with you, immigrants like me who fled totalitarian countries, we are very scared for this country. So how is this going to work? I don't know. I think if we let this to become China's credit system, my warning to you, America will be down. That's how serious that is. Human freedom and human dignity cannot be replaced by any kind of government ID. So I hope you contact your state legislatures. Do not let this happen in America. Please share, subscribe, and like my videos and share my messages. I'm calling on all Americans, Democrats, especially the Democrats who voted for different candidates. I respect your choice. You're liberal. I respect your choices. But this is about our civil liberties, our privacy. If we don't even have a privacy anymore, imagine 1984, live in 1984, a total totalitarian state. I'm calling on all Americans, doesn't matter what party you belong to, you are independent. This is our bottom line. We need to push back. We need to keep our human dignity, privacy, and freedom. Thank you very much.